Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the sonnets, and today we have sonnet 134, which picks up sort of where 133 yesterday left off. And remember, yesterday there was some debate as to whether he was talking about the fair youth as a separate entity friend, or perhaps a division in himself between like his heart and his mind, but basically saying that the Dark Lady owns both, that they were trying to protect each other. He was willing to give himself up, or one of the parts of himself, if the other part could be free. So, but sort of however he looked at it, both parts, or both he and the fair youth, belong to the Dark Lady, because she is still going to own at least one of them, and they are completely intertwined. So sonnet 134 starts off with, or it doesn't just start off with, it also finishes. I'm going to do the whole thing. Sonnet 134 says, "So now I have confessed that he is thine, and I myself am mortgaged to thy will. Myself I'll forfeit, so that other mine thou wilt restore to be my comfort still. But thou wilt not, nor he will not be free, for thou art covetous, and he is kind. He learned but surety-like to write for me, under that bond that him as fast doth bind. The statute of thy beauty thou wilt take, thou usurer, that put'st forth all to use, and sue a friend came debtor for my sake, so him I lose through my unkind abuse. Him have I lost. Thou hast both him and me. He pays the whole, and yet I am not free." So at this point, he's angry about this situation, is sort of what we can all agree on. And in this sonnet, it feels a little bit more like, yes, he's talking about the separate entity friend. He's talking about the fair youth to the Dark Lady himself, Shakespeare, the speaker of this whole thing. And what he's saying is, like, yes, he's yours, I'm yours. I would give myself up to let him go so that I could still keep him as a comfort, as a fallback, so that I could still take solace in this relationship. But you won't let him go, nor does he want to go, because he's been trying to help me. He's learned to do all of this stuff. He learned but surety like to write for me. When I first read that, I thought that maybe he's learned how to write sonnets in Shakespeare's place. But it could also just mean like he signed my bond. If you're my jailer, he signed my bond. So now he owes you the same way that somebody might owe a bail bondsman. And then towards the end of the sonnet, he's like, you use your beauty for everything. You get as much as you can with your beauty. You give your beauty to everyone. And now my poor friend is wrapped up in this whole thing, and I've lost him now too. So I don't get to have him. You have complete control over the both of us, and he's the one that's primarily suffering for it, though I myself am also not doing so great. So it does feel in this sonnet a little bit more like it is a reference to a separate person. But if you still wanted to look at it from the two sides of Shakespeare, like the mind versus the heart, and he's saying, both parts are yours, but I would still give up one if you would give up the other. You could still look at it that way if you want to, and it all still basically boils down to the same thing. He's angry and resentful at the Dark Lady because she at this point has control over the both of them and will not let them go, and he won't let her go, and Shakespeare, the speaker, can't give either of them up, and just feels like he's suffering incredibly, stuck in this weird love triangle. So, yay, love triangles in Sonnet 134. I'll see you tomorrow for 135 to see what happens with them. Mwah.